Hey, it's Erik with Sprucehill Homes with 5 things you should be thinking about when you are considering hiring a subcontractor. Let's dive in. Number 1, credentials and qualifications. You want to make sure that that person has the appropriate licenses to perform the work that you're hiring them to do. Plumbers, electricians, HVAC techs, these people all have their own individual licenses. One very important thing for you to look at when you're hiring an HVAC company for residential is that the company you're hiring actually is a qualified HVAC company. There is actually no requirement in residential construction for somebody installing a furnace or an air conditioning system to actually be a certified HVAC technician. Make sure you hire somebody that is a certified and qualified HVAC technician. The second thing on that train of thought is, do they have insurance, right? Any reputable company has liability insurance. Critically important, get a copy of it. If you ask for a copy of their liability insurance, it should not be a difficult thing to get. If they struggle to get you a copy of their liability insurance, run for the hills. The same thing goes for having appropriate worker protection. Here in British Columbia, we have WorkSafe BC. So every company in BC is meant to have some form of WorkSafe coverage. It's not particularly difficult to get, and it's not particularly difficult to maintain. You just got to pay. And it is what it is, but it's important insurance for you as a homeowner before you allow somebody on your site, whether it be a general contractor or an electrician, plumber, subtrade, or whatever else. Make sure they are insured and they have proper worker protection, as well as that licensing. And finally, are they familiar with local codes to pull the necessary permits for the work that they're doing, right? Licensing, insurance / WorkSafe, and permitting, credentials and qualifications. That's what you want to be thinking about. If getting any of that sort of data or going through any of those elements seem kind of sketchy or weird to you, run for the hills, move on. Don't hire that person. Do yourself a favor. You will not regret not working with that person. You will regret it if you do, though. Almost guaranteed. Now, scope clarity. Do they offer a line item breakdown instead of a lump sum price? Is it clear what is included versus excluded? For example, disposal, material pickup, material delivery, the quality of the materials, cleanup at the end of the project, and timeline. Can they commit to starting and finish dates in writing? If the person you're talking to gets squirrely about really getting everything put in writing and documenting everything and putting together a whole bunch of details, run. See you later. Just don't work with that company. They're going to cause you problems. I promise you. Run for the hills, right? Make sure you have clarity of scope. Very, very, very important. Our third thing to look for, track record. Right? In this day and age, everybody has access to Facebook, Houzz, Google. I don't know. Where do you go to look up a company, right? There's lots of different places to look. Do the looking and look at the track record. My dad and my mom have been saying since I can remember, past performance is a clear indicator of future performance. And that is the truth. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to still be awesome if they've done awesome in the past. Certainly people can go sideways. But if somebody's been crap in the past, the chances of them being crap in the future is pretty damn good. So don't hire somebody that is not good at what they do and has a bad reputation. Make sure you talk to other people that have done the same kind of work with that person before, right? So if you're bringing in somebody to install a furnace for you, make sure you talk to 2 or 3 customers that person has, or that company rather, has installed furnace for before, right? Do your reference checks, folks. Spend the extra 15, 20 minutes and don't get burned. Protect yourselves. Okay, number 4, professionalism and communication. How responsive are they? Do they answer your calls, texts, and emails in a timely manner? If they don't, when you're going through the sales cycle, I can sure as hell promise you they are going to suck at it when you're in the middle of the work, and especially when things go sideways. You want to make sure you work with somebody who answers the phone and gets back to you in a timely manner, right? That is not asking too much. And if you think it is, well, you're wrong. Attitude. Are they respectful, punctual, and clean on site? If somebody shows up, I would say in this day and age, more than 10 minutes late for an appointment, that's a major red flag. Like, I'd just be like, okay, we're done. But again, like, show up on time. I don't think it's that high a bar to just be punctual, be on time, right? But I mean, it's not the be all end all. You know, if they're really respectful, they're very kind, they're very pleasant, maybe we don't need to be quite so stringent. You know, if they're really, really nice, they're very, very respectful, they're very, very professional, and they communicate, okay, being late for a meeting might not be the end of the world. But, you know, if there's 2 or more issues in this category, you're going to have problems. And that's a guarantee, friends, right? These are just easy things to look for. Trust me. The last thing on the professionalism side of things is, do they explain how they're going to get the work done for you before they do the work? So for example, you know, sometimes I've seen it where HVAC techs have said that, or HVAC companies have said that they're going to replace a furnace. When they actually go to do the work, it turns out that the furnace that was there doesn't fit out the opening, and now walls have to get torn down to remove the furnace, right? Make sure you ask the person that you're thinking about hiring, how are they going to go about the work that they're going to do? You know, if you're going to hire somebody to tile your bathroom, where are you going to cut the tile? How are you going to get set up? How are you going to clean up when you're done? When are you bringing your setting materials to site? How does all of that sort of stuff work, right? Ask some questions. And if you're dealing with somebody that knows what they're doing, like, they'll have the answers, no problem. But again, if somebody hums and haws and is squirrely about it, well, it's another red flag, right? Now, contractual protections. You must get a written contract. It does not matter how big or how small the project is. Get a written contract. Get a written contract. Get a written contract. Don't do any handshake nonsense bullshit, right? At the end of the day, everybody's happy until something goes wrong. Well, just plan on the fact and prepare for the fact that something is going to go wrong, and have yourself prepared, organized, set up, and ready to go, so that if something does go wrong, you have all of the different get out of jail free card issues itemized in a formally written contract. On that contract, is there a written warranty, right? What are they guaranteeing? What are they standing behind, and for how long, right? Are they going to guarantee and warrant the furnace, or are they going to warrant the furnace and the labor to remove it and reinstall it if the furnace itself is junk? So make sure you understand what is or isn't covered under their warranty, and make sure that there is a warranty. The next thing is, anybody that's asking for more than 10 to 20% of the total contract price, just be wary. And so, you know, where I'm coming from with this is, like, you know, if you're having a plumber come in and install a hot water tank, and they tell you that they need $2,000 up front to do the hot water tank, it's like, yeah, no, dude. It's a hot water tank. Like, if you can't float the cost of a hot water tank before you come to site, then that seems you're not running a very effective business. And most hot water tanks can be returned if you decide to flake out the day of the installation or whatever. So be wary of deposits. That said, I'd also be wary of the companies that don't ask for deposits, because if you are running a professional construction company and you're not asking for a deposit, you're doing your business wrong, big time. It is not a bad thing to ask for a deposit. Just don't ask for too much. Fair? I think it's pretty fair. Now, all of this can be simplified to probably one thing: trust your gut. I mean, it's so easy to say, but it's so frequently hard to do, because I'm still so long in this business, and I still find myself guilty of doing this every now and then. You want to believe the best in people, and you want to believe that things will work out the way that they're supposed to, but inevitably something tends to go sideways or goes wrong. And inevitably, in retrospect, if you really dug back on things, you can pull out of the scenario in a situation that, like, there was a point in time where there was a part of your gut, you know, right in here, you can't see my hands, right in here, where you just had a sense that something was going to go wrong, or something wasn't going to work out right. Trust your gut, right? You are much better off to keep looking for somebody than to just hire somebody because it's too inconvenient to keep looking for somebody. If you hire the wrong contractor, well, in this case, we're talking about subcontractor. In Sprucehill land, we call them trade partners. if you hire the wrong trade partner, they can cause so much grief, so much headache, so much hassle. It's not even funny. They can damage other trades' work. They can not get the work done in the timeline that they say they're going to get the work done. They can do a piss poor job and not come back and fix it or be willing to be held accountable for doing a better job. There's all sorts of issues that can come up. So trust your gut. If part of you thinks that the person that you're considering hiring might not be the right fit for you, run for the hills. You're going to make a good decision every time when you do that. Those are my 5 tips, plus the 1 bonus tip. Trust your gut. Love to know if you have any other tips or tricks in the comments below. And hope this video is helpful for you. Thank you so much for watching. Stay awesome. Bye now.